communication, and consistent and regular informative communication. And that could be digitally, that could be on the phone, depending on who the client is and their needs and their requirements. But it's making sure that the client feels that they've got some say in the process. They understand what your expectations are. You understand what their expectations are. And there's a consistent line of regular communication that's recorded and documented, so anyone who is making that or giving that vendor feedback can continue the same conversation and keep it informative and real time.
The communication aspect is key, and not confusing feedback with communication. Feedback on a viewing is important, and constructive feedback can help guide your client towards an end goal of a sale. But also you should be having 1 or 2 conversations a week about market conditions, environments, changing environments, so you can guide and educate them with regards to the market. And that's something I always focused on the whole time I was running branch and areas and regions. Is there's 2 types of communication: obviously the feedback with the viewing and making sure it's constructive and informative, but more importantly keeping them updated on what's happening within their market and micro market and the wider aspect with the economy.
I think that the vendors always blame the agent, don't they? So that's why we need to be proactive as opposed to reactive, and remember all the things that we've forgotten to do, because it has been much easier to transact and get those sales through. So we've started, I think, in the last sort of 6 weeks, going back and actually having a weekly kind of market wrap for my team. So, because it's not just me picking up the phone, it's, there's other people, it's the front line. They need to be professional, they need to be advising. We're the trusted advisors for the vendors, and just giving a market kind of viewpoint from what we're seeing both locally but also on a national basis, because my clients in the West Country very much like to know what's going on in London. And as we've said, when we were back in that kind of tough 2007-2008 market, the ripples came our way 5 to 6 months later. It's having confidence in your ability as well. We all actually know a lot more than we remember, and it's about boosting your teams up as well and giving them the confidence, and like I've said before, the ability to have those difficult conversations, because they are coming. I'm confident of that. Things are going to take a little bit longer to sell, I'm sure of it, and it's just having the policies and the systems and the task sheets in place to have those conversations quicker.
I mean, I guess it depends, because I feel like you're baiting me to talk about the people that are intentionally overpricing.
Me baiting? Never.
I want to talk about those agents who lead with integrity and occasionally do get the price wrong, and I can hold my hands up. I've been one of those agents. We don't always get it right every time. But if you're talking about specific agencies that we call it give it a bump, give the price a little bump just to win the listing, so like those guys, whose responsibility is it? I don't think it matters, because they work for the agencies, they do their sort of practice. I don't think it does it there. There's policy, get it on, and then 16 weeks to chop it down.
Okay. Yeah, that was good. Good answer. What were you going to say? Sorry.
If you made a mistake, so we'll pull a client in and hopefully bring them into branch. We like to do meetings, we like to do face-to-face. We found that that's become very, very popular because we haven't done it for a couple of years. And I don't list every day, but I'll sit in front of someone and hold my hands up and say, we got it wrong the first time round. The market is doing X, but it hasn't received yours in quite the same way. We need to look at addressing that. We have no problem doing that, because we do act with integrity, and a mistake is a mistake. If I was doing that with 10 clients a week, firstly, I don't have the skill set to be in the role, or I'm just full of it. And so, I fall into that category that I didn't want to talk about. But what I want to go back to is Katie's point about communication. So last year, quick example, 82% of the properties we sold last year in this business. Now I appreciate we're a niche business, we don't go beneath £1 million, so it's not indicative of the entire market. 82% of the properties we sold last year, we were the second agent to be instructed. They've been on the market with another agent in the last 4 weeks. And so, we're talking about a red hot market last 2 years, but in London, above a certain price point, it's still, it doesn't move 100 miles an hour. It's still, I would regard it as conditions haven't been so rock and roll as I have heard from around the country. That's life, and I love those conditions, because it allows us to present something different, to be a solution to the problem they genuinely have. Difficult to be a solution to a problem that doesn't exist if the properties are flying off the shelves. What I would say on communications though is, There's direct communication, which Alex touched on, and I completely in agreement. We've scheduled a 3-week review with our clients, but it is absolutely regular, and we need to be talking about what the market's doing and sending them links to information about the market, because the mass market media doesn't always help us. We need to justify our position. But there's also indirect communication, which we're big on, and that's things like social media. Indirect communication, our consumer base might view what we say very differently. If I call up Chris and say, Chris, we've been on the market 6 weeks, I've got the price wrong, the market is changing, you need to reduce. You're at that point going to be cynical and think I've done that intentionally. But if you jump on my social media feed and you see the things I'm saying, and the things I say absolutely align with what I'm saying over the phone, well, I must be telling the truth, right? Because I'm not going to speak to all this thousands or maybe, my mum and my uncle who watch my feed, but I'm not going to be saying that in the open, in the realm of, or out of the ethos, if it wasn't legit. So we rely on both the direct communications with the consumers and our clients and our vendors, but also the indirect stuff, which is, in my view, it just drills down on the proof and the trust that what we're saying is how we feel in general.